All kids experience stress at some point in their childhood. And stress can be a good thing. Stress can actually be a significant motivator to get us to behave in a particular way, to respond to our environment in ways where we need to respond. For young kids, they don't often have the resources that they need to be able to manage their stress well. There's particular types of stress responses, and two in particular that have been identified clearly across a whole range of areas, and that is a fight response and a flight response. So, in a fight response, when a person is feeling stressed, their way of approaching that challenge or responding to that difficulty is to assert their position, to actually literally fight, to get angry, to get aggressive, to stand up for their position. The other way that a person can respond to stress is the flight response. And this response is the response where the person wants to run away. They want to back off. They want to get out of that stress. Who do you know who is the person who in a stressful situation wants to bury their head in the sand, pretend that the stress isn't there? So depending on our personalities, depending on the context, the situation that we find ourselves in, we may respond to stress in these varying ways. It's really important that you remember that you're not doing this role in isolation. And sometimes the background experiences of children are so complex, we can't be the expert. We can't be the one to solve all the child's problems. In fact, our role is really just to come in each week and be that friend to them, be that encourager, be that positive influence in their life within that hour. We need to be aware that there are other people beyond our role that can help to assist a child who is experiencing extreme stress. So what are some of the stresses that can impact upon kids? A big factor that can be very, very stressful for young children is the home environment and things in particular that are going on within the home. If there is significant conflict in the home, if there are problem relationships in the home where there's a lot of fighting, marital discord, where people aren't getting on, where there's a lot of abusive behaviours that are taking place in the home, this can be incredibly stressful for a child. And we need to be sensitive to some of those signs, some of those signifiers that may show that things are not okay in the home environment. Another big factor can be people in the child's world who have really high expectations of that child, unrealistic expectations, where they have expectations about their behaviour, about what they're asking of them or expecting of them, that are well and truly beyond their capability. This can create enormous stress because they're not able to meet up to those expectations. We live in a world where we are bombarded with media. This can be another stress, would you believe, for young children. They have all of these competing stimuli, so as they're making sense of their world, they're looking around them. You know, they drive in their car and on buses there's images, you know, signs everywhere, television. Many kids who may be under-resourced can spend a lot of time in front of video games, you know, electronic games, sitting in front of the television for large periods of time. There are actual studies that show that this kind of overstimulation can create enormous stress for a child. Another factor that can be very stressful in a child's world is that of poverty and its associated effects. There are some children who grow up with very little. They are extremely vulnerable, they're disadvantaged, under-resourced, and for whatever reason, their parents are not able to provide for them, to give to them the adequate resources that they need for health and vitality. And this can be very, very stressful for them. For some children, they may not have the meals, you know, healthy food that they can eat that is going to help them to function well. They may not have the kind of clothes that they need to keep them warm. And it's really important that, again, we look out for some of those signs to see whether in fact the person's situation is not helping to meet all those safety, those physical needs that are really important and vital to the child. Another factor is environmental changes, and in particular, changes where the child is moving from one place to another. They might have moved from one school to another school. They might have moved from one home into another home. Some children might be in a foster relationship where they're moving from one family to another family. This can be extremely stressful, and it's really important that in situations like this, that there is some kind of stability that the child can find to be able to help them to navigate these significant changes as they occur. And that's where a mentor can just play a beautiful part, where the transitions are occurring all the time. You can be that constant person each week, that regular person where the child knows that you're going to be there, that you'll be there with them, you'll be there for them, and you can help to talk through their life and their situation as it's changing and evolving.